Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we are making Pan Seared Pork Tenderloin with Bourbon Glaze. This is a key. Bourbon Glaze, it's sweet, tangy, full of amazing flavors. This sauce is what makes this dish amazing. You're gonna love it, and I'm positive you're gonna be making this often at home. We're gonna start with the glaze. Before we get to making the glaze, let's talk real quick about the bourbon. You can use any bourbon you want to, but for today we are using the Evan Williams Bottled in Bond 100 proof bourbon. Now we chose this because it's not that expensive, it's a little bit sweet, and it's not watered down, so when you cook the bourbon, the alcohol evaporates, it just leaves that really intense bourbon flavor. Okay, it's time for the glaze. The first thing I'm going to do is saute my shallots and garlic with a little bit of olive oil. Okay, we've got some olive oil. And to this, we're going to saute the garlic and shallots. I'm going to keep an eye on this so that it does not burn. Once the shallots and garlic have softened a bit, that's when I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. While my garlic and shallots are cooking down a little bit, let me show you what I'm making as one of the sides. It's braised red cabbage. That smells so good. My pot looks a little bit dark, but that's because it's been well used. We actually baked bread in this too. But anyway, it's gonna go so well with our pork. All right, back to our garlic and shallot. That looks really good. I'm gonna add the rest of my ingredients. So we've got a little bit of chopped red pepper. We have peppercorn. You can use green peppercorn or black peppercorn. We've got bay leaves. This is diced red tomatoes. The other things that go in is soy sauce. This is balsamic vinegar. Gotta get all that goodies out of there. And then we have apple cider, red vinegar. Oops, sorry guys, that was red wine, not red vinegar. We also put in some brown sugar. Now this looks like a lot of brown sugar, but trust me, it's gonna be delicious. And then one more ingredient, and that is fresh parsley, Italian parsley. All right, we're gonna bring this to a boil and then let it simmer until it reduces by half. It's been 15 minutes. It's nowhere near reduced in half. It's got a ways to go. But it started to thicken slightly, and the aroma is really nice. And just for our pork tenderloin, I really like serving it with the braised red cabbage as well as mashed potatoes. So I've got potatoes on the stove cooking right now. It's gonna be a feast.
So it's been a while since we've done any filming, and we're getting kind of snippy with each other.
You are.
Yeah, maybe.
Not me.
Either way, to get us to calm down a little bit, we thought we'd do some shots since we're doing a bourbon thing. But I'm actually gonna do a shot. And Jane, just to participate, is having apple juice. But it looks like a shot.
I don't really do bourbon. It tastes great in the sauce, but not by itself.
All right. Cheers.
Wait, I can't.
You can't even take the whole shot and it's apple juice.
There we go. Are you gonna be more relaxed now?
Yes.
I hope so. Okay, so my sauce has been simmering and reducing for a little over an hour. You do need to be patient with this. I wish you could smell the aroma. It's so delicious. Anyway, if you wanted to, you could make this the night before and refrigerate it and heat it up you can heat it up in the microwave just before you serve it. But now it's done, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain it. So we're going to take this over to my cutting board. All right, so I've got my glaze that was simmering in the pot. I'm going to pour it in here. Let me switch hands real quick since I'm a righty. Let's do this first. We're going to pour it in the mesh. And then at this point, what I do is I use my spatula and squeeze out as much of the glaze as possible. As you can see there's more glaze falling out of there. And then, here's the bourbon. Remember, we were saving it. I'm gonna add it on here. And we're gonna mix it. Remember, it's still hot because we just got it out of the pot. Stirring this in. Here goes the taste. Just kind of coat it my spoon. And it will get thicker once it sits for a little bit. Oh my gosh. That is so delicious. My bourbon glaze is sitting over there and is smelling great. The next thing is my pork. It's pork tenderloin. Pat went and trimmed it for me this morning. And all I'm going to do is season it with salt and pepper before I sear it in my pan. So be generous with your salt and pepper. It might seem like a lot of salt and pepper, but it really isn't because this is a big piece of meat. Okay. That is looking good. I'm using a cast iron pan for this because I can sear it on here and take it right into the oven. I'm going to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm gonna just eyeball this. Okay, it's smoking hot. That's perfect. Okay, the first one goes in. So heavy. They're gonna get seared about 1 minute to 2 minutes per side. I really want to get it a nice golden color on all sides before they go in the oven. All right, I think it's ready to be flipped over, and that looks good. Okay, here's the first one. Looking good. As my pork are searing, I'm going to go ahead and stick the probe inside. I've set it to 145. Put it into the belly of the pork, just like that. Once this is done searing, I'm going to put it in the oven and let it cook until it reaches 145, or about 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, it's done searing. Now I need to go in the oven. All right, there it goes. It's set to 400, and I'm gonna keep my eye out on the thermometer to tell me when it's ready, since I have it. Okay, so it's at 145, and the timer went off at 12 minutes. Perfect timing. All right. Let me see how I'm gonna get this out. That looks really, really good. Okay, I'm gonna let it sit here. It needs to sit for about 10 minutes before I slice it. So that's looking really good. We've been waiting 10 minutes and the probe is telling me it's at 160. It's perfect. So I'm gonna take this out. There we go. The color looks so good. I'm gonna cut this kind of at an angle. Okay, my pork has been sliced. Now it's time for the glaze. Let me show you real quick. Look how it's a little bit thicker now. I'm gonna be generous with the glaze because it is so delicious. That looks so delicious. Oh my gosh. I might add a little bit more because this sauce is amazing. And then we'll do a little bit of parsley on top for the pop of color. And that one is done. So my pork's all done. I went ahead and made my mashed potatoes and braised red cabbage. I will actually leave the recipe for the braised red cabbage and in the description below. Mashed potato is just regular mashed potatoes. Anyway, I'm gonna do a little serving for myself. I think I'll just take 2 little slices because the rest of them we're taking over to our block party. And because the sauce is so delicious, I'm gonna drizzle a little bit more on my pork as well as my mashed potato. And of course, gotta add a little pop of color, right? You know me and my color. That looks so pretty. All right, let me set this aside. Looks delicious. A little bit of pork with the glaze on it. The pork is really well seasoned. You can actually eat it by itself, but I'm telling you, the glaze is what really makes this dish. The cabbage is a little bit tangy from the apple cider vinegar. It just gives it a perfect balance of savory, creamy, and a little tangy. I'm gonna eat it all together. So good, so good. I hope you give this recipe a try. The sauce, there's a lot of ingredients, but once you simmer it, it's really easy. It's a great meal for your family and friends and for a potluck. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave comments for me because I love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.